Welcome, thank you for coming out on what is a better than great day for this dedication of our greenhouse. I just want to make mention of what I think the equation is to allowing something as innovative as a greenhouse on a public high school campus that our students will take advantage of for years to come. The equation that makes that happen. I think it is the combination of stick-with-itness, plus faith and support. The stick-with-itness was our students, our teachers, our leader of this, Matt Haynes, assistant principal. That faith and support came from our district administration, Frank Gallagher will speak next, and our school board, having faith and supporting us through something that had a lot of questions to it. That stick-with-itness and faith allows luck to happen. And that luck was the kind gift of Ethel Blumberg, and we thank her and her family for that. Welcome. I'll give you now Frank Gallagher, our superintendent.
Thank you, Sam. To echo what Sam said, I want to thank our school board of directors for allowing us to take this risk. Leadership brings a lot of challenges, and when you are brought a project like this, which Matt Haynes brought this project to me, our assistant principal, who helped design the project and is really the project manager. I wasn't sure at first because this is a risk. We spent a lot of money on this building, and now we're adding another piece to it. It has to be maintained. And are we going to use it? And after several presentations, Matt and I said, okay, we're going to do this. We worked with Ruthie Potter, our executive director of the Indian Valley Education Foundation, and our generous donor, Mrs. Blumberg, for making this happen. This was a long, 2-year project, Matt, I would say at this point, right? And when I drove in here, well, I've been here almost every day last week, but when I drove in here on Saturday when it was quieter and I walked around, I was just blown away by what this looks like and what opportunities this is going to bring, not just to our students, but to our community. So Ethel, thank you so much. I can't say enough. We can't say enough for this, but this will be here for many, many years to come and serve our students and community in so many different ways. I'm excited. So having said that, I want to call up Ruthie Potter. Ruthie, are you around? Ruthie's our executive director of our education foundation, the Indian Valley Education Foundation. She, along with the foundation board, have turned this organization around from a $25,000 a year budget to almost next year over $300,000. That's huge. That's big progress, and that's because of Ruthie's leadership. So thank you for that, Ruthie, and here you go.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Sam. Welcome, everyone. I am Ruthie Potter. As we have established, I'm the Executive Director of the Indian Valley Education Foundation. And on behalf of my Board of Directors, thank you for coming here this morning and joining with us as we dedicate the greenhouse. The Indian Valley Education Foundation is a nonprofit organization that works in partnership with our administration and faculty of the Souderton Area School District to do precisely what it is we're doing here today. And that is bringing the resources of our community into our schools and to provide opportunities that would otherwise not be possible. Thanks to each of you for taking the time to be here today. It's really an important moment for our school district and for our community. I would like to acknowledge our corporate donors, Haynes Custom Builders. So Matt is over there. He is also an assistant principal, but he has served as the project manager on this and my right hand, my sounding board in many ways, and really has overseen all the foundation work and the entire project from start to finish. Cheralonza Mechanical, we want to thank them for the radiant floor heating coils. EGC Incorporated for the construction of the greenhouse. The guys are there right now. They have been invaluable to this process. Nice Crete and Landis Block and Concrete for the concrete donations that they have made. Rimal Greenhouse Systems for the plans that they donated. WB Homes for 2-inch foam board that was desperately needed for us to get this project off the ground. and our SAVE students and advisors for the tireless fundraising, vision, and commitment that they have had. Your support and generosity has been integral to the success of this project, and we truly cannot thank you enough. I would like to acknowledge the family and friends of Cindy Kilmer, Souderton Area High School class of 1973, especially Cindy's mother, Ethel Blumberg, her sister, Donna Raymond, and her daughter, Alicia Kelsall. We did it. We did it, and I hope this is what you wished for. I hope you can feel the depth of gratitude that we have for your generosity. Before I hand this over to the others who will share with you the countless ways in which this facility will be a blessing to our students, our teachers, and our community, I want to share the story of how we got here. Several years ago, I had a phone call from Mrs. Blumberg requesting the opportunity to meet with me and discuss a donation that she wished to make in memory of Cindy. I invited Dr. Gallagher to join us, and we had a chance to learn a little bit more about Cindy and her passion for agricultural science and horticulture. We then began to share about the work that was being done in many of our schools in the capacity of community gardens, outdoor school, Earth Day celebrations, Planet Keepers, and of course the amazing work that is being done by our SAVE Club. As we shared, Mrs. Blumberg had a twinkle in her eye, and without too much in the way of discussion, she nodded her head and said, yes, 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 this is what we would like to support. As a result of that funding, we were able to establish the Cindy Kilmer Fund for Agricultural Science. This program serves as an ongoing resource for our school district and provides funding for our classrooms to allow expanded, innovative agricultural learning opportunities at every grade level. As time passed, I had the distinct privilege of remaining in touch with Ethel, and again, she wanted to know how she could be of more support to our schools. That was the teacher in you. I knew that the greenhouse project had been at the top of a wish list for quite some time, and I wondered if this might be something that would resonate with her. I invited her to come and meet with some of our students and teachers to hear more about what they wanted to do, and a few weeks later, when Donna came to visit, they came here and were able to sit down and hear from our kids exactly what their vision was. That day, we gained the angel donor that we needed to get the wheels in motion for this project. Ethel, thank you for your generosity, for your graciousness, for your commitment to the students of the Souderton Area School District. The impact of what you have provided is without measure. My thanks again to all of our corporate donors, to SAVE, and to the family and friends of Cindy Kilmer for being here today. We are truly so grateful. We apologize for the mud. We didn't have a whole lot of control. Enjoy this morning, and again, thank you for being here. I now welcome to the podium Matt Haynes, my right hand. Mr. Haynes.
Thank you, Ruthie. Well, good morning, everyone. Let me just change hats here for a second. There we go. I'm feeling a little more comfortable now. Unlike you, I love the mud. This is where I've spent most of my life. As a young child, the best picture I have of myself is that with a mouthful of mud. So the little guy that's running around here, there is hope for you, my friends. You will have a promising future. Well, I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the construction of the project behind us. And any successful builder would tell you that each individual member of the structure is important to the overall integrity of the entirety of the structure. The bolts, the screws, the stones, the concrete, the beams, they're all interconnected. They're all interdependent. You can't have one without the other, because without it, you would not have integrity. See, if the bolt says to the beam, "Not today, my friend," the beam doesn't stand. If the column says to the footer, "I can't today," the column fails. The most rewarding aspect of this entire project has been for me to see through the lens of our community, the similarities to the bolts, the beams, and the concrete. Because our community is interconnected. It's interdependent. It's related. And that's been a very unique experience for myself, for those involved, for our students to see and experience. People coming alongside one another, committing to the vision, and pulling together the resources needed to make something like this happen. You heard all of the people that have been involved, and there's so many more behind the scenes. So yes, I say thank you to our school district, our board, the students, all of you. Our township supervisors who are here today, thank you, because without them believing in us, the project never gets off the ground. But to the family, I say thank you for entrusting us to bring forward the work that you've given to us. Without your generous contribution, we are without foundation. We can't even begin. So what I wanted to say to you, the family, is we find great responsibility in the legacy that you've begun, and we will be good stewards to carry that legacy forward. It's a legacy of hope. It's a legacy of purpose. It's a legacy of innovation. And to speak a little bit more about all of those things, I'd like to bring up Ian Burley and Kim Wilson, our teachers who will take this project forward on the educational and academic front. So, to whom much is given, much is required. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for all taking time out of your busy lives to come help us celebrate this amazing greenhouse project. My name's Kim Wilson, and I teach Earth and Environmental Sciences here at Souderton Area High School. I'm also privileged to be one of the Save Club advisors. Believe it or not, I'm actually a partial product of the Souderton Area School District. Though I finished my high school education at North Penn, I began my student years as a kindergartner at Lower Salford Elementary School. I risked revealing my age with you by sharing the fact that I had a charismatic young principal named Lowell Tinner. I don't know if you remember him. He's awesome. Anyway, during those early childhood years, I spent a great deal of time visiting with my Pennsylvania Dutch grandparents at their small farm in Waxhaw. I still recall thinking that the trip from Mark Twain Apartments on the corner of Somebodytown Pike and 113 to their home out in the country was like taking a step back in time, as they were pretty simple people. They had a gravel driveway, a small flock of sheep, ducks, chickens, rabbits, which served as my sisters and my pets growing up. At the time, we kids were not privy to the fact that all of those animals would end up someday on our dinner plates. My grandfather tended a large field of corn, beans, cabbage, peas, tomatoes, and other vegetables, and had loads of fruit and nut trees. Walnuts, hickories, cherries, apples, pears, and peaches, even grapevines. I can still picture him with his straw hat on, riding up high on his tractor, dressed in his drab green work outfit. My mom's shaking her head yes. Curiously, he always looked hunched over a bit when he walked. But only when I began tending my own garden did I realize that he probably had a terrible back from bending over in the fields all day. My grandmother was also an amazing gardener. Her flower beds are the envy of the Salfordville area. Her tulips, daffodils, peonies, lilacs, irises, and she had a huge purple wisteria on the front porch, and a tremendous garden of roses, which smelled like heaven to a young girl like me. Inside her home, she had just as many plants in every window: wandering Jew, purple passion vine, cactus flowers, and begonias, which all threatened to take over the windowsills and block out the light. Upstairs in her home, she had a 4-tiered grow light in which she started seeds, and she kept her beloved African violets. I take you on this journey into my childhood because that is when I too became a gardener and a lover of all things nature. Each season, my grandparents very generously set aside a small patch of dirt right next to their back door that was mine to tend. They even let my sister and I wander, unencumbered by parental overlords, wherever we wanted to explore things throughout their property. In hindsight, and now as a parent myself, I suspect their generosity with space and time was partially self-serving, as it most likely kept little Kimmy out of their hair and then let them work. But the freedom of experience I was given as a little girl, wandering in those gardens, smelling the terrific aroma of the lilacs, eating luscious cherries straight from the tree, digging in the dirt, finding worms and pill bugs, planting seeds and watching them unfurl from the seemingly lifeless soil, all of these embedded in my psyche a tremendous respect for the natural world. I absolutely cherish my experiences in nature as a child, and I'll tell you with complete certainty, those lessons that I learned in my grandparents' small farm have become a personal part of my DNA. My grandparents never really knew how greatly they impacted my future through their gardens, that I would go on to study microbiology because of my interest, and molecular biology, that I would have my own flower beds and apple trees and vegetable gardens, and teach my own 3 girls to love all things green. And they certainly would not have anticipated that after raising my family, I'd return to work as a teacher, that through education, I would hope to pass on my love of the natural world to others. Unfortunately, they passed away before these things came to pass. But I'm afraid that the experiences that I had as a child are becoming more and more difficult to replicate in this world of technology and computers and phones and social media. I worry that today's kids are becoming completely disconnected from nature, too wrapped up in our society, which encourages structured play, parent-guided activity, and learning with devices that all require a cord. I'm not alone in my fears. Entire books have been written warning about the dangers of a society which does not fundamentally understand where its food comes from. I've read them, and the reality is dire. But fortunately, we as Souderton Area School District have an amazing opportunity to overcome this problem. I believe that education's highest ambition should be to point students towards solutions to the world's many challenges. In my own classroom, I aim to do this by helping students identify problems with many of today's agricultural and ecological practices, and providing them with the education and resources they need to pursue innovative solutions. My students, both in my environmental science classes and in SAVE, they're all over there, consistently impress me with their enthusiasm for protecting the earth and with their dedication to make change. The greenhouse that we're dedicating today will be a conduit through which the further learning and innovation will occur. It will not only physically connect students to living things through propagating and caring for plants, but in a broader sense, will allow our community to go back to our agricultural roots and reconnect with the land that feeds us. It's with tremendous gratitude that I accept the challenge of leading these students at our high school in this journey. I want to thank all of you who are here facilitating this amazing project, whether through financial, administrative, experiential, or emotional support. A special thanks to Ethel, who has been instrumental in her financial gifts to our greenhouse. For your birthday, Ethel, I want to give you an African violet plant. This is for you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, backstory about that. I propagated that from a single leaf that was given to me by a really dear friend. I know that my grandparents would be proud of the green thumb that they produced, and I want to pass that on. I believe that this gorgeous blooming plant embodies your spirit of generosity. What a miracle that with time and loving care, a mature, thriving plant can rise from a single tiny leaf. It's my sincere hope that this greenhouse, which also began as a tiny seed of inspiration, will similarly grow and thrive into the amazing place I know it can be. So to Ethel and every single person here who's contributed in some way in making this dream a reality, thank you all. Thank you for your confidence in our vision. Your support for our community's future is commendable. I hope that each of you will visit this greenhouse frequently throughout the coming years. I hope that you'll look back at what started as a dream and take pride in what you helped bring to life. I hope that you continue to be a part of our efforts to make our world a better place, one head of lettuce at a time. Thank you.
All right, good morning, and yes, thank you for coming today to this event. My name is Ian Burley, and I'm the co-advisor for the SAVE organization, and I teach environmental science here at the high school. I'd like to give you a very brief description about the origin of this facility from the student perspective, from SAVE's perspective. It was years ago when Hurricane Sandy hit, and over at the Nature Center, at the Student Environmental Education Center at the West Broad Elementary School, we had a very, very small hoop house, plastic greenhouse. And we would raise some plants for plant sales, and we would try to raise money for SAVE, but it was destroyed in that storm. A tree branch fell on it, and it was usable, but it was in its last years. But when the tree branch fell on it in the storm, that was it. So the students and I were cleaning it up one day, and we looked at each other and we said, wow, we have to rebuild this. We need a greenhouse. You know, we're SAVE. We need to promote environmental stewardship. And we looked at each other and we said, okay, well, should we rebuild this one here? Do we have the money to do it? Who's gonna run it? You know, what are we gonna do? And we all looked at each other, and one of the students said, well, why don't we build one at the high school? And in my mind, it started going like, well, no. You can't do that. Absolutely impossible. So I started thinking, you know, and when I was in teacher school at Kutztown University, my professor beat into our heads the words, just do it. You know, it is the Nike symbol or slogan, but he said, just do it. And he said, there is no impossible. You know, as soon as you start saying the words impossible, you've lost. You need to get students out of the assembly line rows in the classroom. This isn't 1925, we're not assembly line anymore. We need to get them out into the real world, experiencing their education instead of reading about it in textbooks. So as we all stood there looking at each other in the ruins of this small greenhouse, I said to him, well, all right, let's do it. Let's figure it out. This was 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it took that long to get the ball rolling, and for the stars to align, and for our family to come together, and for the money to be raised, and for the people to all agree, yes, this can be done. And as we stand here today, among the beeping sounds of the final construction phase here, all we feel is excitement, and that's what it's all about. So if we feel excitement, imagine the students walking through the doors of this school who already have school pride, saying, we have this state-of-the-art glass greenhouse at our building. Do you? Talking to their friends at other districts. And when they learn that they're special because they have something like this, they even have more pride and more drive and more inspiration. And that's what this is all about. I came from a little bit different of a background. I was an archaeologist for 5 years in my previous career, and I spent my childhood in farm fields, walking days after. See, I wouldn't come to school today. I'd be in a farm field looking for arrowheads. My dad would keep me home. And we would walk the fields on a fleshly plowed plot of land next to a creek, and I would find an arrowhead. I found my first one when I was 5 years old. My father has about 15,000 artifacts in his basement, in his museum, in his home, and people come from around the world to see his artifacts, which represent Eastern Pennsylvania Native American, culture. So the smell of the soil after a day of rain, the kicking off of the mud off your boots, the sounds of the birds, the smell, everything, the sights, the dripping. We would hide under trees in thunderstorms. Those were experiences that was a better education than I had in any classroom. I learned that nature is a part of people. And hopefully we can pass that on by allowing students to get their hands dirty, to smell the soil, to realize that it's not dirt, it's soil, a natural resource that is not unlimited on Earth. We will have an aquaponics system to grow food without soil. That's our future. Soil is running low. Arable soil that we can grow food in, rich with nutrients and minerals that we need. So hopefully students can see that and become inspired themselves. Very quickly. If you build it, they will come. When I was thinking about what to say here, it came to me while watching a movie. Maybe some of you already know this movie. I was watching it with my son. He's in a Spanish immersion program at Southern Lehigh. And I'm dropping that because that's another program maybe we can have someday. I'm already seeing the benefits of students. My son is in first grade, and he's already applied his Spanish skills in a parking lot in Allentown with a lost woman. And it was very neat to see my first grader communicating with this lost woman in Allentown. But anyway, one of his first vocab words was greenhouse. Now, I look for signs and things because it's fun. When you find signs, I think it's a fun thing. It's just like a little hobby. But one of his vocab words was greenhouse. Invernadio. And he would say that I didn't say that right, and I didn't roll the R correctly. Later on, we were watching this movie, Field of Dreams. His homework was to watch a baseball movie. He's playing baseball. So we picked Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. There were signs all around about the destiny of this building. It's already reached so many people and will reach countless more in the future. It's so interesting how a building can do this. Then it hit me. It's not just a building. It's something more special than that. To some, it's a legacy. To others, it's an idea become reality. To some, it will be inspiration. To many, it will be a classroom, a place to learn, a career to explore, a factory of opportunity and experience. If you build it, they will come. So who are they? Students and teachers most frequently. Community members, visitors, innovators, leaders, problem solvers. The world needs more of these people. This place can grow these people from our community, spawn them into our society. If you build it, they will come. Ideas will come, successes will come, things to be proud of, failures to learn by, problems and solution, innovations, future plans, careers, and dreams. If you build it, they will come. This place is a special place already. It beat the odds to be here, and now it can begin to provide a bounty of tangibles and intangibles from and for our community and beyond. If you build it, they will come. Well, we are building it, and they're already coming. I'd like to give you a student perspective, so I'll introduce Jacob Golden, a senior this year, and Caroline Kelly, a sophomore. And thank you so much to all our donors, our family and friends. Jacob and Caroline Kelly from the SAVE organization. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jacob Golden, and I'm a senior here at Saturn Area High School. I believe that the earth is the one thing that we can all relate to, the one thing we all have in common. I believe that it needs to be both preserved today and protected in the future. For these reasons and many more, I'm an officer in SAVE and a supporter of this greenhouse. The motto of SAVE is rooted in the environment branching into the community. I believe that the goal of the greenhouse completely embodies this message, to promote sustainability and educate students on how to gain a set of skills that will be key in our changing world. The greenhouse began several years before I came to the high school. Past students saw the potential that a greenhouse on campus could provide to both the school, district, and greater community. This interest was first voiced to our SAVE advisors and then onto administrators. The curiosity that was expressed years ago got the ball rolling that eventually snowballed into the structure you see before you. Once I arrived at the high school, I too became involved in this endeavor. The first thing my fellow students and I did was to decide what we wanted to take place in the greenhouse and what services it was going to provide. In order to decide what we wanted our greenhouse to look like, we went into the greater community to see what similar structures looked like. The first facilities we visited were the impressive classrooms at Delaware Valley University. The most fascinating feature we saw was the aquaponics system. We thought we could use a similar system here to grow various crops that we could sell in the cafeteria in Souderton, and in the future, I even imagining partnering with local supermarkets to sell our produce to the wider community. In search of even greater knowledge about aquaponics, we visited Evergreen Lane Farms, whose facilities we hope to emulate in our own greenhouse. We also met with community member Mr. Don McDonough, who provided insight into his local business where he raises houseplants. Throughout our time making connections with these local partners, along with many more, we were in the pursuit of both funding for this project and the approvals needed to make this dream a reality. I would like to highlight, thank, and wish a very happy birthday to one donor in particular. I met with Mrs. Ethel Blumberg last year. We spoke about the importance of education and preparing students for the future and how the greenhouse would truly aid in this goal. Her ongoing support has truly made this project possible. We've also met with school board numerous times to discuss the project and eventually get approval to begin construction. I was able to luckily speak at the groundbreaking ceremony where construction began, all of this leading to today, the dedication. I would like to thank all those who have supported us. Without you, this project would not have been possible. With the amount of time I have left at the school rapidly decreasing, I will not be able to continue to help guide the greenhouse into the future. But there are plenty of students who will be here to carry the legacy on. I would like to invite one student who I have complete confidence will be able to do so to tell you about the future of this greenhouse, fellow greenhouse grower Caroline Kelly.
Hello everyone, I'm Caroline, and I'm a sophomore this year. Before I begin, please stand if your name is called and come join me. Jacob, Hagar, Emily, Will, Helen, Audra, Allie, Jenny, Anna, Colin, Caitlin, Victoria, Allie, Nikki, Megan, and Sarah. So these are your greenhouse growers, and each and every one of them deserves their own round of applause. Without them, this goal would never have been accomplished and there'd be no future for this greenhouse. As Jacob said before, this greenhouse has been a long time in the making, and while I was not here for the beginning, I'm proud to say I'm glad to be at the end of the planning and the permits, the end of the waiting. I'm proud to say I'm here for the second beginning, the start of the fully functioning Stuyvesant greenhouse. Every day I walk by the so-called greenhouse, and let me tell you in the beginning, it was not looking promising. But Mr. Burley and Miss Wilson assured me that somehow plants were going to grow from that slab of cement behind me. And as the weeks went by, I watched, and then boom, there was this thing connected to the high school. And all of a sudden, I saw the possibilities and the future of our high school. Not only did I know we were going to have a great greenhouse, but you betcha we were going to have the most greenest, bestest greenhouse you'd ever seen. Every Thursday meeting, a little progress was made. And just this past Thursday, I think we all realized what the future held for us. Every inch by inch, a little progress. Me and Allie were rushing down to take another picture and document our incredible journey. As we all know, the greenhouse is not just for growing plants, but in our case, we will learn much more. It is an incredible learning opportunity, and I know every student here is so grateful. This greenhouse will not only be teaching us about botany and growing plants, but we'll be learning so much more. We'll be learning about finances. It'll be our own micro company. We'll be learning about designing, planning, all kinds of things that you don't have the opportunity to learn at other schools. In fact, we have already learned so much, and here's my first pitch. Over there, you might have seen we have plants. Feel free to pick one up, looking for little donations. This is not only an amazing opportunity for our club, but we also our whole school. I can only pray for one day that our school be looked at as a time before and after the greenhouse. Thank you to everyone who has made this happen. All of us and future greenhouse growers, thank you. And I would like to invite Alicia Ketchell, Ethel's daughter, to speak.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank everybody for being here on this extremely special and exciting day. I'm grateful to be up here on behalf of my family, our 4 generations that we have here today, and we even have family that traveled from Florida, Connecticut, and Texas to celebrate with us. And now I'm excited to tell you a little bit about the story of my mom, Cindy Comer, my grandmother, and the greenhouse. We're so honored to be able to dedicate this greenhouse in memory of my mom. My mom truly loved everything about horticulture. She truly had a green thumb. She really wasn't happy if she didn't have dirt under her fingernails and plant cuttings everywhere. Her gardens were always thriving, gorgeous, and full of life, just like her. My mom graduated from Souderton Area High School in 1973 and was the proud homecoming queen of her senior year. She was an animal science major at the University of Delaware, and her love for the outdoors and helping others was her true passion. One of her biggest and proudest accomplishments was her development of one of the first horticultural therapy programs in the Philadelphia region that provided therapeutic services to multiple populations at the Crozier-Chester Medical Center. At its prime in the 80s, it was the center of an extensive garden on the hospital grounds. There, She led and directed a group of trained volunteers that led 15 or more groups a week for both inpatients and outpatients at the medical center. So now you can see how building this greenhouse at her alma mater was a perfect memorial project. We really hope that the students of Souderton will now be able to share in my mother's passion. Souderton Area School District has always been dear to our family, beginning with my grandmother Ethel, who was a first grade teacher in the district. And none of this today would be a reality without her. At the time she taught, her name was Ethel Kilmer. And I'm guessing that maybe some of these guys' parents or grandparents over here may have had her as their first grade teacher. Her teaching career started really by accident in 1964. She had always aspired to be a teacher, but instead, she helped her father run his real estate business in Lansdale and obtained her college degree in business administration at Beaver College, now known as Arcadia University. When she and my grandfather moved from Lansdale to Harleysville, my gram took my mother and her younger daughter to Lower Salford to register them for school. The principal at the time was an older woman named Helen Keeler. She asked my gram if she knew anyone with a college degree who wanted to teach school. It didn't matter if they had a teaching degree, Helen was desperate. And so fate intervened, and that's how my gram became a teacher. She then jumped at the opportunity to do what she was truly meant to do, teach. She was hired immediately for first grade and started her 22-year career at the age of 39. As the determined woman she is, she took college courses in the evenings and weekends for several years to get her teaching degree at Gwynedd Mercy College. She retired in 1986 after 22 years of teaching first grade at Lower Salford Elementary School in Harleysville. This incredible project we are all here to celebrate today was made possible by multiple donors and my gram Ethel, who set up a fund through the Indian Valley Educational Fund, the Cindy Kilmer Fund for Agricultural Science. The Cindy Kilmer Fund has provided community gardens and activities for school-aged children even prior to this greenhouse project. I'd like to give a very special thanks to Ruthie Potter, the Executive Director of the Indian Valley Educational Fund, who met with my gram and guided this entire process. Like Ruthie mentioned, when Ruthie and my gram discussed projects and the topic of a greenhouse came up, Gram got a twinkle in her eye. This was the perfect thing. A greenhouse on the district's wish list for several years, clearly it was a win-win situation for everyone. Our family is forever grateful to Ruthie for her guidance and professionalism. She and my gram have formed a very special relationship, and Ruthie will always have a very special place in our hearts. My gram, along with our entire family, is so excited about this project. It not only honors the memory of her daughter and my mother, but it will help enrich the lives of the next generation of horticulturalists. Before I finish, one more thing I want to acknowledge again. Although she may be upset with me for repeating it, it's very important that everybody knows today is also my gram's 94th birthday. And without a doubt, I can't think of a more meaningful present for her than to be here today to make this project possible. Life is about giving back, and that's what we're here today to do. Thank you, everybody.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Kilmer family. It's hard to follow up on those great speeches before you for sure, but I'll do my best. When I think about today, I think about so many great things and the reason we're here and the greatness that surrounds us in the Souderton area community. And it's just a wonderful feeling. I know everybody here spoke about certain things. I know everybody here spoke about strength in community, strength in our schools, and what I would just call unique goodness that becomes Souderton. Strength in our community, I've lived here all my life since 1971, I guess. I too went to Lower Salford, the old Souderton High School. I thought it was cool when we got a pool, but I think this might have been a lot cooler for sure. Our community is different. I've had the opportunity to travel the country in a lot of ways and see many communities. I've spoke to teachers, I've spoke to leaders here today. Dr. Verano, I'm going to call you out a little bit, and we've compared notes about other communities, and by far, our community is fantastic, and we stand head and shoulders above everybody else. Strengthen our schools. We have outstanding teachers. I don't think you find teachers like this everywhere else in the Commonwealth and everywhere else in the nation as well. Mr. Burley, Kim, Matt, and all the others, I thank you because you do a fine job and you make projects like this a real reality. Satterton is also unique because of who we are and what we do. From our school police officer program that we started years ago, and the only reason I mention that in conjunction with today is we were the odd ducks doing that strange project, but now they're calling us and saying, hey, how did you do that? The Career Pathways program, it's not that we were the odd ducks, but we were the first to do it, and guess what? They're calling us now. I don't have a doubt your phones are going to be ringing, staff folks, to figure out how we did this today. It's what makes us strong. And lastly, uniqueness and greatness. If you look around our district and tying it all together, we are unique, we are great, we are Satterton, and I think that's what makes us so strong. So on behalf of the school board, I thank you all for coming today. I appreciate everybody's time, from the efforts that went into the building to the fundraising efforts. It's an immense opportunity and certainly a cause for celebration, so I thank you. Mrs. Blumberg, I have a favor to ask. Can we put that flower down? Can you come up here for a sec? Some people worry about public speaking, I do too, but I worry about this next step even more. That's golden pipes I do not have. I'll come to you. So as we heard today, it's Mrs. Blumberg's 94th birthday. 94th. I'm going to tell you straight away, I'm 48, and I can creak and groan getting out of bed in the morning. So Mrs. Blumberg, you are my rock star. You're an amazing human being, and I thank you immensely for being here. But in honor of your birthday, we have a cake, but more importantly, we have a song for you. You might have heard this one before. All right, and I'm going to count on everybody. If you leave me hanging out on this one, guys, I'm going to be upset. So on three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ethel. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. I'll turn it back to you.
So before we finish up here this morning, I do want to draw your attention to seed packets that are back on this table. They are a native Pennsylvania wildflower mix. Please be sure to take one with you as you go as a remembrance of this day. Additionally, there's lots of food, so please eat. And I'm going to ask the family to come up. We are going to do a ribbon cutting, and I've not done one of these before, full transparency, so we'll see how it goes. But we have big scissors, so I imagine that might help. But I would like the family to come forward and a couple of our SAVE students to come on over, and we are going to make this somewhat official. I know our Franconia Township advisors are here. We do not have the certificate of occupancy. We will not go in yet, I promise. But we do want to commemorate this day. Again, thank you all so much for being here. Please help yourselves to refreshments and don't leave without your seed packets. Enjoy this beautiful day.